That's right. It's another late night and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag. And tonight we're pulling out. Oh my goodness! There's a cage in the grab bag. What is this? There's a sign on it. It says Nicolas Cage in Debt, Episode 1, Selfie Sticks. Oh my goodness! It's a new series, Tiki. What do you think?
I'm hopelessly addicted to Animal Crossing, Dragon. You gotta chop the wood to get the bells. You gotta chop the wood to get the bells. That's what I have to say about that, Dragon.
I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to Animal Crossing when all this chaos is done. I swear to God, I'm just gonna say.
Oh, Animal Crossing is the least of my worries, man. Animal Crossing is the thing keeping the chaos at bay. Believe me. Animal Crossing is like it should win a Nobel Peace Prize, Dragon. It's bringing.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to speak about something I know nothing about. Also, the shout out something JustGiggleIt did today. I'm going to say, forget Animal Crossing. Let's applaud what some young soul did with this whole creating a Disneyland for the kids and the
okay,
dreamers.
That was pretty amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, forget Animal Crossing. Applaud that guy. That guy did something magical.
Although I want him to put as much time into the Tiki Room as he did into Pirates of the Caribbean, because my God, Pirates of the Caribbean was like dead on in every detail.
Like, that's something that makes me want to maybe get into that sort of thing, but that I don't know. That's like that.
Dragon, trust me, if I had a PS4, I'd be playing nothing but Dreams and Spider-Man, and you could approve of at least one of those.
Oh wait, that was on PS4.
Yeah, it's on PS4. Yeah,
it would have to be. Yeah, I don't know, because I've all the Animal Crossing and everything. I keep thinking that Anyway, but yes. All right. Well.
All right. We have someone in the comments here, Jacob Payton. Hey, nice to have you on board there. Welcome to the grab bag. All right.
Howdy. So yes, folks, as you've guessed it, we have something brand spanking new. We were worried about running out of gas on the JGI sketches, and lo and behold, when in doubt, someone provides. That someone was Joshua.
The mysterious Wiseau sketch is still in the Joshua Thomas vault.
It is. It's still in the vault. Still kind of little magical elves next door, just kind of working on it. It's kind of the old editing elves as they were, the ones who kind of make Joshua Thomas's hats on the side when they're not working on sketches. Those guys.
You know what, Dragon? Here's the good thing about the end times that we're living in right now. JGI has literally a vault of sketches that they could release at any time.
Oh my God, yes, it's literally like the end times thing with Prince. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So there you go. I'm not too worried about a lack of, at least somewhat consistent content for the grab bag. We'll see how it goes.
Well, if they get really desperate, then maybe they'll let us out of the vault, perhaps.
All right, so we should clear this up because we have a new visitor who I assume was brought over from JGI who graciously shared this with us. So yeah, Jacob, this show, the JGI grab bag, the grab bag itself it's just what we call the podcast where we recap each and every Just Giggle It comedy sketch. It was sort of the spin-off of our recaps of Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world. And Dragon, my God, why don't you bring us up to speed with how many we have left?
Well, not counting just kind of like the Wiseaus, like not counting the Wiseaus, which basically falls in the category of this, as in kind of the new stuff that JGI kind of has waiting in the wings for us. Of all the sketches that were kind of like there and posted for us just to kind of run down the list of, we really only have 2 left.
Dragon, so what's the number? Like, how many have we actually covered at this point?
These are the questions I really wish you'd kind of go over with me beforehand, so we
can actually we just have a new viewer, so I want them to like give me a ballpark.
At the very least, ballpark. I know it's definitely over 60. I know that
over 60
because there's 60. Well, then again, actually, wait a minute. Probably 75. It's at least 75, maybe more. Let's just say 75. Easy. If not, then we've at least covered 73 out of 75 if there's a number, if there's a definitive number. The point being, we're in the 70s, folks.
The point being, we're pretty hardcore Just Giggle It fans. And Dragon, the sell of Just Giggle It for me in terms of the sketches, Jacob, just in case you're just watching as a fan of Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world, just the sell of the sketches for Just Giggle It is it's SNL done better than SNL.
True.
It's like it's a guerrilla, not guerrilla. That's a wrong. It's do-it-yourself filmmakers making SNL style sketches and just kind of doing it really, really well. And so at the grab bag, we really like to break down the minutia of the comedy here, Dragon. That's what we do, right?
Yeah, you know, we kind of recap kind of the biggest laughs and kind of like look at kind of the patterns of the emerging and kind of the people behind the camera who kind of made it happen, and just kind of like, oh, look at what they're doing here, and look what they're kind of pulling from here, and oh boy, like you can kind of see how this sketch kind of maybe inspired a few sketches down the lines, and like this is what SNL's missing out on. Like Lauren Michaels should be sending these kids thank you notes, you know, that sort of thing.
All right. So yeah, with that in mind, I think that's a pretty adequate explanation for everything.
But Mr. Payton, I got to tell you something here, Jacob. This is a momentous day for you to join us because in the tomes of JGI, I got to remember, folks. Now we've covered a few short films that JGI has done in recent years, such as Robostitute, for example, great short film, excellent. And of course, we've even covered Joshua Thomas's his feature film debut of his own making with Erasaway, kind of unintentionally, the unintentional a similar film to something along the lines of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But more importantly, the closest thing we've ever gotten to another web series, not counting, of course, the perennial one, Harley Quinn and Joker versus the Real World, was Watching You, which essentially was a pilot that was chopped up into a few episodes. Not even technically a web series, more like a web pilot. And yet again, it's been years since we had Watching You, then you had a proper web series in Harley Quinn and the Joker, and yesterday we had this new Nicolas Cage show, which is Joshua Thomas confirms, albeit the production may be a little stalled for hopefully a brief period, but new series with this Nicolas Cage thing. There are ideas, there are scripts, there's a lot of concepts of Ruin with Joshua Thomas. They teased up very gratefully on this little stream today, and I'm looking very eager to it based on kind of our little pilot episode we're recapping and recounting today.
All right. So with that in mind, Dragon, let's start things off. So the whole idea of this show is it's kind of like a hidden camera style show. You know, one of those shows following a various D-grade celebrity day in the lifestyle. You know, think the Kardashians.
I'm saying a little bit more a little bit more of The Office meets kind of like a Keeping Up the Kardashians, I guess, kind of like a mashup of the two. There's definitely a lot of Office in terms of the style here. It's like we're following Michael Scott misadventure, so to speak.
All right, but the pitch is it's Nicolas Cage, and he's just trying to get by, Dragon. He's just a D-grade actor, just looking for cash flow in this world in these hard times. We're all affected by everything going on.
So, a little background, a little context. This was, of course, as you probably guessed by the face looking at you, this was directed and edited and co-written by Joshua Thomas, and the other co-writer was the incomparable Alex Poncio.
Yeah. Oh God, Poncio Dragon. I can't bury the lead on this any longer. I love that Poncio is playing a Ken.
Yes, another Ken.
I mean, just Ken Armand, if you haven't seen If Buying an Orange were like buying a car, I feel like that might be the sketch that has given us the most mileage, Dragon, out of any of the grab bag sketches.
It is quite great. I was in love with that ever since the thumbnail. This is a fun, hilarious like pose of Piper Henson with the orange, just hysterical. Like, oh, what are the shenanigans that happen in this? Then we get a magical gift that keeps on giving in Ken Armand.
Oh my God, dude! We need to pitch a Ken Armand movie. We're obsessed with the character of Ken Armand.
Hey, look! If SNL has spin-off movies such as
I don't
care if anyone says I really like that Coneheads movie. All right, I really do. Anyway,
I still haven't seen it actually.
Seriously, I think you might really like a lot of our favorites. I mean, Michael McKean's in it, man.
Well, speaking of McKean, I actually just watched Clue this month. We'll talk about that on Memoirs. But McKean was on fire in Clue.
I'm aware of that. Well, we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being, if SNL has all these spin-off movies, some of them ranging from really good to not so good. I think we can do. I think we can break even with the Ken Armand movie. I don't know. kind of a death of a
It's in the cards, Dragon. It's in the cards.
kind of death of a salesman with Ken Armand with fruit.
Oh my God! Yes. Just make it a tragic comedy. A tragic comedy.
All right, so
Oh
as you can
God.
probably guess, so in real life, kids, Nicolas Cage, very infamously, almost like Wesley Snipes, but even more, even sadder. Nicolas Cage infamously made a series of bad purchases throughout his life, which led to a lot of IRS trouble. I'm not kidding here. Nicolas Cage literally bought a castle.
Oh my God.
He bought a castle. He bought a dinosaur skull. He bought ridiculous, stupid things. He really
If anything,
did.
I would buy like a mini golf scale like Disney castle for my backyard or something
If I
like
were
that.
you,
That's
if
as
I
far
were
as I
you,
would go.
here's the thing: if I were you and I were extravagantly wealthy and I made kind of a silly but really cool purchase, it would probably be a ride vehicle.
Oh my God! Right. Something
Anyway,
like that.
so let's see, what was it? All right. So the point being, Nicolas Cage, of course, infamously is in bed with the IRS, and you'll notice in real life that's why you see Nicolas Cage so often. He's taking movies left and right to try to supplement his income. So that's why, like, man, Nicolas Cage is in that. That's the answer, folks. That's why he's in it. So
Oh
again,
God.
in some cases, like, oh man, do we really need Nicolas Cage in that? In other cases, you have Spider Verse, so who can complain, really? So you break even.
You get a Spider-Verse or you get a Mud every so often. You get something where he's trying. It's not unheard of that he'll try.
True. And also, the saddest thing I ever heard with Nicolas Cage's death is him having to sell his Action Comics #1. As you folks may or
Oh
may not know,
no!
Nicolas Cage.
Oh
You
God!
didn't know this?
No, I didn't hear about
Yeah.
this.
So
Oh, that's
wait,
brutal.
I want to say back in 2011, Nicolas Cage he
Uh-huh.
had to sell Action Comics #1, which remember he's a huge Superman fan for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
From the
of
whole
course.
death of Superman lives of it all. And basically had to sell it, which I don't know if it was like the highest amount a Superman #1 ever sold in Action Comic. Not even Superman #1, it's Action Comics #1, the very first superhero comic, man. Like that's huge. So sold for like $2 million, which I want to say for like if it had to be of a good quality. The point is that was a big deal. It usually went for like 1 million like a few years prior to 2011. So I don't know what it's been since then. Point being, sold for an inordinate amount of money. Even sold the movie rights because I don't know what the story was on this, but the word was that someone bought the movie rights to basically do a film about someone heisting Action Comics #1 from Nicolas Cage. I don't know whatever happened with
Oh
that
man.
project. And I assume Nicolas Cage, for the
Wow.
money, he would have to be in that movie.
Dude, I want that movie so
I
bad. That would
know,
be
right? This is like old
amazing.
news, but yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. We just kind of got
Let's
lost.
bring that back and let's make it like we're talking tragic comedies, man. Like, Nicolas Cage can just like method act the hell out of like, no, I felt the pain of losing that Superman comic and now I'm gonna channel it.
And of course,
Oscar man. Anyways, go
and
ahead.
what brings
Sorry.
us to this sketch is that Joshua Thomas, famed for a few impressions, of course, one that we kind of learned through a few of his live streams. I believe the one with Mark Sipka in particular. Does a mean Nicolas Cage? Does a mean Nick Cage impression? Which is the mark of any good actor. When you do like a spotless Nick Cage impression. And there are a few Nicolas Cage related things in Joshua Thomas's life that do kind of rear their head within the sketch, which we're going to get to by the end. And that's the thing. It kind of brings us to now. Just kind of Josh Thomas had a notion like, what if we took The Office and took my Nick Cage impressions, kind of melded them together, and just kind of like took like the most infamous thing about Nick Cage with his money troubles, and just kind of like put all in a pot and just see what comes out. And boy, oh boy, is it quite fun. Jacob asked you how has our day? How have our days been? So
Jacob, I've just been spending my quarantine playing Animal Crossing. A lot of Animal Crossing. My podcast co-host here thinks it's unhealthy.
mhm.
I feel differently. I think it's very, very healthy and very soothing.
All right. Okay, so let's just dive right on in. So of course, the premise is, along with the D movies, Nicolas Cage is doing this to pay the IRS and getting odd jobs. Essentially, that's the premise of the whole show. Nicolas Cage is getting odd jobs through a temp service, working for a man named Kenneth.
Oh,
Uh,
God.
Working for a representative of a temp agency by the name of Kenneth, basically getting all these odd jobs. I assume that's what the whole series' premise is. Basically, it's going to be getting a
Like
series
every
of
episode, he's going to have a different job.
That's what I want to see, and I hope they're
Yeah,
sticking with it.
yeah.
That's what the implication is, that it is Nick is getting odd jobs and using the money to kind of pay off the IRS, which again he owes an inordinate amount to still to this day. Hopefully not as inordinate. I'm pulling for him, I really am. But point being, a lot of money. So he can, of course, played by the wonderful Alex Ponzio.
Yeah.
Right, so we start in a parking garage, and of course, like can. A little taste of the Nicolas Cageisms.
I love
We
how
unlock the key.
like isn't Cage calling him Kenneth right from the beginning?
Well, I think he starts all the series of Kens before he just when he addresses him, he's saying Kenneth.
Got it, because I love the Kenneth of it all. Anyway,
I
sorry,
know, I
go
love
on.
that too. So it's like, yo, pitch me, Kenneth.
So what's my role for today?
Or sorry, force a habit. Like, not giving it. Sorry, force a. What
I'm
is my
not giving you a role. I'm not giving you a role. I'm just giving you the job that I hired you for and explaining how to do it. So Ken, he explains that Nicolas Cage is going to be selling selfie sticks to passerbys, and there's a lot of tourists in the area, so it should be pretty simple. And Nicolas Cage, he's just examining everything. Meanwhile, we have a cutaway to Kenny. He's saying, "My name's Kenny Hammer," or
Well,
I'm sorry, it's Harmer.
yeah, Harmer,
Yeah.
you got it. Because I was thinking,
Yeah.
no, it's not Hammer.
long lost cousin of Justin Hammer.
Yes.
I work for Tim Jobs USA or Temp Jobs USA. Whenever a company needs employees for a short amount of time, we fill those job opportunities for them. And so yeah, Nicolas Cage is just like selfie sticks, right? Because people love pictures of themselves.
Now, this is what cracks me up about this too. The gag to me seems to be that Nicolas Cage, and again, possibly is like a hook for the series as well, is that Nicolas Cage is learning about modern day things for the first time in some of these cases, which includes what a selfie is, and two, what the selfie stick is. It seems to me this might be like a first time thing, him putting together the idea of like selfies taking pictures of themselves and a selfie stick.
Oh God!
By the way, I should have prepped people. I should have said this at the very beginning, folks. We're no Joshua Thomas. We can't do a Nicolas Cage impression to save our lives. Just bear with us.
No, watch the actual sketch. I have the link in the description. By all means,
please do that, folks. Again, we're just schlubs who just talk about it. Okay. Anyway, so again, so by the way, so the premise is he needs to try to make he's trying to make $100. They're selling the selfie sticks at $20 a pop.
Dragon, can I just say, like, I was a salesman for one day, and it was at a parade, and I hated doing it. I hated it. Like, that would be my least favorite career path ever.
Were you the guy with the cart at the parade?
Nah,
I was the guy with the cart.
Yeah. I was one of the guys at the cart. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love being the guys with the cart. Yeah.
Did you have like the blow up? Okay, no, so you didn't have. I had something much more boring, Dragon. I was trying to sell newspaper subscriptions. In this day and age, newspaper subscriptions.
When was this?
It was brutal.
I understand. How long ago was it? How outdated was this?
Maybe like 8 years ago at this point, something like that.
Well, it's not great, but I mean, probably the last legs of the newspaper, I guess.
No, the newspaper's actually still around. It's my local newspaper. It's
I know it's still around, but it's like the last when people are just giving up on like physically selling the subscriptions.
Sure. Anyways, Petaluma Argus Courier, folks. This podcast is sponsored by. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, legal disclaimer: we are not sponsored by those guys. Okay, so I love this in the kind of the cutaway talking head bit with Kenny here. It's just like, oh, he used to be No, I used to be a Nicolas Cage fan. Not anymore.
I'm sorry, really quick outlier here. You know, the woman who got me that job is the woman who really reminds me of Paige from Better Call Saul.
Really? Oh my God. You had your own Carla Pifko.
Yeah. And like she's like every time Paige comes on screen, she's like a spinning image of her, and I'm like, it's Elise. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Okay, wrong podcast, but okay. All right, so
I love you, Elise, but that job was not a good fit.
Anyway, getting back on point here. So, cool. Just try to hit 20. Try to hit your goal is 20. Try again. I love he's emphasizing try. He's like not expecting a lot of purchases, but there was a lot of foot traffic there. Try to sell 20. It's the area most foot traffic, and of course he's treating like the map like it's a script, which is funny. I won't let you down, Kenneth. Just call me Kenny or Ken.
No, I'm not a casual man, Kenneth.
Well, no. He says
I
it's
don't
even
think
better.
casual.
No. He says there's nothing casual about the cage.
Oh God.
Which is just great, and it keeps reminding me of like, well, remember a running gag for Luke Cage at the start of it before, or I guess no, it was Jessica Jones. We had this running gag with Luke Cage, and where basically Luke had a bar, and before we realized that,
the cage, yes,
yeah, before we learned that Luke's bar is just called Luke's, it was for us it was always the cage.
Cage. God.
Yep, it's got to be it's the Cage. And of course, fun fact: Nicolas Cage, he got the name Cage because remember his real name's Coppola. He's actually I believe the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh wow!
In real life, he comes from a lot of high pedigree. You know, actually, Tiki, I don't know if you know this. He's actually, I believe, cousins with Jason Schwartzman too. Point being, the pseudonym Cage came from Luke Cage because he's a big comics fan. You know, Nick Cage, Luke Cage, and of course the whole Superman of all. He named his son Cal for Kal-El.
Oh, nice.
All right. Anywho, point being, so of course he's really confident about how this day is going to go. I'm going to sell so many of these, they're going to call them Nicky Sticks, which is a wonderful foreshadow to probably my favorite joke in the whole thing. Once we get to it, of course, cutaway. We're a temp agency, so we'll hire anyone. So again, I love. I don't know why. Yet again, I'm pulling from if buying an orange or like buying a car. Again, I love Ponzio in kind of these these bureaucratic or like kind of these managerial positions.
Like
I love him in the
manager.
I love him kind of his intermediary kind of managerial positions. Just love it. It's like the restrained kind of dry Ponzio. It's like that. And of course, you look at like the politically correct Christmas. Where it's like you're telling Jon Snow, no, winter is not coming. It's not winter. It's winter, but it's that whole runner. That's really funny. Anyway, okay, so ta. Says Cage.
All right, so Dragon, where are we exactly? Are we at like the Santa Monica Pier or something like that? I want to say.
Well, I got
just a random street corner.
Might be just a random street corner. I mean, I don't think it's it doesn't look like the Hollywood Walk of Fame because obviously no little stars on the bottom.
It's not the Walk of Fame.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know quite where it is. It might be Santa Monica. I don't know. Not sure. You're the LA native. How do you not know these things?
I don't know. I'm just like I'm wondering if JustGiggleIt has any like filming locations that we're not aware of.
It's a fair point. All right, so I love it. Almost drops into before we start. Where the money thing? The whole, it's the money. It's the money. All right, so we see some establishing shots, and then I love this. This is my favorite part of the whole thing too. I love Nick Cage's sales pitch. I love it. So we have Nick Cage demonstrating the stick and using the stick as a prop, like any good kind of salesman, especially a street salesman. Just kind of like a has like the one out of the box that demonstrated. And then of course, it's like if you've ever gone into a mall, which I should use that in the past tense these days. If you ever go into a mall. And you see those kind of guys with the kiosks, and of course, like the guy with like the remote control car, they got the remote control like, little hovering little helicopter things. Like, hey, look at this, and he tries to hawk the ones.
I remember one of those guys selling me like a bouncy light up yo-yo thing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, So I love just the way I love what Josh does here. I love what he's just using this as like the ultimate kind of collapsible prop. It's almost as if, and later he's going to use it almost as if it were like a baton as he stops people, but also it's kind of a little pointer stick here, just kind of accentuate his points and demonstrate the product. I love it. And I don't know, again, it's people with short arms. God has answered your prayers. It's the selfie stick. And you call me Wayne Brady, baby. Let's make a deal.
Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bit?
You know what's funny? At my workplace, I've been just by sheer happenstance this year. I'm starting to watch Let's Make a Deal in the mornings before things start to heat up. So I've always kind of liked Let's Make a Deal. It's kind of won me over considerably. I'm thinking I kind of like it better than The Price is Right at this point. I gotta be honest. It's quite fun.
Ooh, those are fighting words. I
didn't say it was better. I'm saying I'm kind of liking it better. It's like all
right.
Anyway. I still like it though. Again, I'm not really kind of hunkering in for all the game shows these days. But if one just happens to come on, I'm more inclined to go for the Wayne Brady before I'm inclined to stick around.
Although
for the
I will admit, with Price is Right, I'd almost rather just watch reruns of Bob Barker than watch the Drew Carey.
That's
episodes.
what I'm saying. I'm saying current Price is Right. That's what anyway. Okay, getting back to one point. Anyway, point being two fine game shows. Just
Did you hear they're going to try and film Price is Right without a studio audience?
Well, I've heard many shows are talking about doing that, Tiki. Some of them, I believe,
But
have.
dude, like Price is Right, like I could understand a lot of shows doing that. Like Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, fine. Price is Right, how do you not have an audience for Price is Right? That just feels wrong.
It is a fair point. Anywho, so point being, like, also the Wayne Brady line, as great as it is, and maybe just a lot of love for the game show. Also, Mark Sipka has been on Let's Make a Deal. Maybe showing a little love to old Sipka there. I don't know. All right. Okay, so let's see. Because then, like, a fan walks up to the cage, and it's Paula Deming, I believe her name is Paula Deming, who, by the way, a longtime friend of Joshua Thomas's. We kind of learned about this today. Joshua Thomas has been friends with Paula Deming. She was kind of his, I don't know if his first, maybe longest LA friend in the acting scene. You know, they've met each other at some auditions. They've kind of gotten to know each other, and of course, I imagine they've chatted about this, the fact that she's kind of a dead ringer for Jenna Fisher, which kind of complements the Office parody of it all here as well. So it's just, and she does ring quite the bell with Jenna Fisher too. And Joshua Thomas, in case anyone curious, like myself, is listening to the Office Ladies podcast. I know you're curious, so I thought I'd let you know. And Tiki, I think you've lost audio here, buddy boy. Okay. Getting back on point. So, we run... Yeah?
Can you hear me now?
Now I can, yes.
Okay, my bad.
Anyway. So, Paula, why don't you take us through the Paula scene?
Okay, so the perfect way to capture a picture, first of all, he kind of acts like he's sort of like offended, like he asked Paula to take a picture with him, like if she wants to take a picture with him.
I love the sales pitch so much too, by the way. This is really dope. Of course, of course is what kills me.
He's just like, hey woman, don't waste your opportunity of a photograph with the one and only ghostwriter on a close-up. Look at the ambience of our surroundings here. We just zoom out to a brick wall. Or not a brick wall, but just a concrete average wall. Very ambient.
Think about how perfect the sales pitch is just for the selfie salesman. This is what I think is those genius kind of writing in the whole thing here. It says, like, of course. The perfect way to take a picture is... perfect opportunity. Basically, it's like the perfect opportunity where everything goes wrong at every turn for the salesman here. Just like it's kind of some classic comedy beats here. Okay, perfect opportunity to sell on a selfie stick is what we need right now. Take a selfie, but again, by definition, selfie, you just need the camera and an arm. If you don't have short arms, pretty much you don't need the selfie stick technically, unless you're going for a big crowd. In this case, she's not. So Cage then gets offended by just like ruining my sales pitch, essentially. So then he's like, we gotta capture the ambiance, of the surroundings, which of course just very plain background. So then a passerby walks by, I believe Richard Doty is his name. I've seen this guy. I don't recall seeing this guy before. JGI. Anyway, so it's kind of passerby. And then, like, she asks him to take a picture, and then, of course, Cage loses it. What does he say? This is all you, man. Go on.
Listen, you rude, inconsiderate little parasite. Great movie, by the way. Would have been better if they cast me. I mean, after all, I auditioned for it. I'm looking at you, Bog. Snowpiercer should have been me. Oh, Okja, that voice should have been me. Parasite, I could have played any one of those Asians. All right,
could have played any one of the...
I'm not going to shout this out the window. I have the window open, but anyways.
You have the window open.
Because I don't know.
That's your rationale. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the point being, it's like, I can play any one of those Asians.
I just don't want to yell about Asians right now. I'm sorry.
I know. Who told you to open the window? I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. Let's just move on. So, anyway, so let's see. So he says, get moving before I rain down. Okay, before I rain down judgment on you. Either the devil's judgment, right? Before I rain down some judgment on you, like rain, like I don't know, point means rains down judgment upon you.
Don't think I can't play Asian. I've got 5 words for you: Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, just kind of some classic cutaways with those kind of long, kind of Bong Joon-ho related tangents. By the way. All right, let's see. So, of course, I love this. Is what
And
kills
the
me too.
passerby is just like he's very flattered. He's just, oh my god, that was Nick Cage.
I love how he's just basically like, move, move, move. Just the physical comedy and like kind of like as he's kind of
Move.
like shoving the guy like, yo, get out of here. Like I'm in the middle of a sale. Move, move. He's
Oh
again,
god.
this is Joshua Thomas showing like he's got the. It's not just an impression, folks. He's getting the physicality. He's getting the whole. He's just really
Uh,
putting the extra oomph into it. So, she says, well, that man could have taken the picture. That man could have. It's 2020. It's 2020. You don't need no man. Hashtag you don't need no man. This is, what are you getting at? Isn't it obvious? Selfie stick. So I love this. I love it.
God.
This is
I
this is so clever. It doesn't get into like a whole like she's not getting
love
nothing
the
to do with him or
dramatic
anything.
reveal of it all.
I love how slick he is right here. Selfie stick. Just like, no, Nicolas Cage, again, gotta love him, though. As off the walls as he can get. It's showing a little bit of a self parody here, obviously, as you can probably imagine, where it's like, no, he's not crazy for the sake of craziness. Again, he's not just like going on like a random tangent. He's doing all of this in the service of selling the selfie stick. And he hasn't lost point on the mission, which is great. So he's not really trying to offend anyone here. He's not going out of his way. It's like, selfie stick. He says, "Oh, okay, I see what you're going for." She was about to get all uppity with him. I'm like, "Oh no, God knows." Anyway, so rightfully so, mind you. Anyway, so how much? What is? And this is great. This is basically Josh Thomas doing like what Nicolas Cage is. Of course, if you had to sum up Nicolas Cage in one word, it'd be spontaneous. And that's kind of what Nicolas Cage is. And of course, a little bit of a. He's kind of a not ranting, but he's kind of creating on the fly right now. He's like, what is money, compensation, the almighty dollar, right? It's all going to go to Bitcoin in 50 years. 50 years going to be robots and then they'll tap dance as he physically tap dance on our graves.
I love
and a
how he
robot.
almost like uses the selfie stick as a cane in his tap dance at one point.
I know he does. He's literally using it as the tap dancing cane. Yeah, there's no almost. He is. This is robot Nick Cage is still in debt to the U.S. government. And then he gives like the stare, and these are the choices, man. Like the choices only Nick Cage could make. He's making the stare. $20. I only have 5. Then stop wasting my time. Move.
Move.
She doesn't need a picture. I love it. We learned that in their cutaway. This is perfect. Like, I didn't really need a picture. This story is epic. What is happening?
Oh, I totally agree, man. If I had a story like this would be like a Bill Murray story, man.
Exactly. So we're definitely.
I envy people with celebrity stories like this.
Very much like very much kind of like a Bill Murray encounter with Nick Cage. It's kind of what we're setting up here. And also, reminds me, Michael Rosenbaum has this really profound thing that he said once. It always stuck with me about how encounters with fans were basically, if a fan comes up to him, what he does is that usually they'll ask him, "Can I get a picture?" He says, "Well, I could do that. Wouldn't you prefer to have a conversation then get a picture?"
Oh, that's nice. That's
like
nice.
he'll chat with him and he'll meet with him, but that's the thing. It's like kind of like when you need proof of it. That's when it just kind of takes a little bit out of that. You take the picture of the autograph. It's like, well, just have a conversation. Just talk. If someone meets him on the street, that's what happens. So it's kind of a little bit. It's about the experience. It's about like, oh God, like I met Bruce Campbell once, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to name drop here. So I met Bruce Campbell once, and it was like not what I expected it to be. It was even better though. It was the feeling of meeting the man. It was just kind of like the guy kind of read my mind, said what I was thinking. I didn't get a lot of words in with him, but it's like. I got fulfilled. It was like, oh my God, I was in the presence of Bruce Campbell. It's amazing.
I kind of had a moment with Greg Sestero, where I've told you about this. He wrote the Disaster Artist book, and I was like, hey man, I like the movie, but I totally agree with you that it should have been directed by David Fincher. Like David Fincher would have been my dream director. And then me and him just had a moment of like, oh yeah, The Social Network. I totally wrote the book around the skewered friendship that The Social Network has. That was absolutely my inspiration. I was like, yeah, man, I absolutely got that. So yeah, I love celebrity interactions like that.
Gotcha.
Anyways.
All right, so the future is selfie stick as he's kind of making his pitch, and then we cut away to kind of lunch. So I love this image of this prolific image of Nicolas Cage sitting on his box full of his selfie sticks, eating his pizza lunch. Love it.
But Jim, it's lunch.
Yes. There's gonna be a lot of theme of lunch in the stuff we're recording today. I'm getting a sense of. So.
Oh yes, there is.
Yeah, there is. There it is. And pizza, too. Oddly, there's kind of a pizza connect between this and Better Call Saul.
Oh, God.
Okay. So let's see. Nicolas Cage, he's, why don't you take us through some of this? Okay, it's lunchtime. Go.
All right, so he's saying, let's see, sorry, I'm trying to get to the dialogue here. He's, oh, God. Dragon, I'm terribly sorry. I've only watched
Okay, well, he's being
once.
asked about his favorite role, for example. A favorite role? Well, the 2 weeks I played Superman that no one will ever see. So that's great. It's all I'm dying. But one thing I really want to see Justin was do with this whole Nick Cage thing. I don't know if they're ever gonna. I want to see him do a parody of Nick Cage. I want to see him do Nick Cage as Superman for a sketch. That's all I really want with this Nick Cage thing. But I gotta be honest, if we never see that, this line, it's pretty good. It's pretty close. It's pretty good. I'll take it.
Right, so he's like chasing people off with the selfie stick on the street. We get cutaways like sort of back and forth between him on the street and him eating the pizza.
Yeah, and he's getting more aggressive with the sales pitch. Like he puts it out like a baton to stop him in the street, and then of course like they're either running away or they're walking around the thing. Of course, one of the funniest bits, as you said, was like he says, "Hey, excuse me, sir." He chases him down like, "Hey, you!" Just runs after him, just hysterical. And to get back to the conversation with the pizza, it's like people think fame is glitz and glam.
Kids, and I thought I had sperm.
Yeah. Like thousands. It talks about glitz and glamour, but it's really about tax bills. So yes, of course, he calls the one guy rude as well, like rude, as he walks around. How dare you how dare you walk away from me inconveniencing you on a sidewalk? Right. So let's see. So then we have the money shot here as Nicolas Cage, after a day of kind of a disappointing day, he walks off like dragging the box on the ground, jacket over his shoulder with the magic hour lighting.
It's like the Incredible
sunglasses.
Hulk shot, Dragon.
Pretty much, it's kind of like the salesman version of the Incredible Hulk. If Bill Bixby were like a Bible salesman or something, it would be something like this. So let's see. So then we have again, this is great here. Okay, so we have this. Sad Cage is interrupted here, as we have Sad Cage interrupt us as he's kind of walking down the street, Sad Hulk style, and he turns the corner, and we have this girl chasing him down for a selfie. I believe it's Annabella DeMeo. I believe that's her name. Anyway, so they have this girl chasing them down, and it's like, Selfie. He says, Cage, I don't know where his head's at. He misinterprets this as like, no, Nikki. He thinks it's like she's calling him Selfie, like that's his name. What have you been selling all day, Cage? And then this though, all jokes aside, this is my favorite payoff. Though, it's just so brilliant here, where it's just Nikki Stick again. This little miscommunication makes him think, "Oh, guys, what I said earlier in the day, where they're by the end of the day they're gonna be calling him Nikki Sticks." Like she's interpreting, it's like Nikki Stick,
right.
So he's just so overjoyed with this full circle payoff. Like, oh God, it's happening, just like I said it would. So he gives her the selfie stick. She gives him $20. He's like, there's a free picture that comes with that. I love the idea of like, had this day been successful, I mean, it would have been gone gangbusters for me. You sell celebrity selling selfie sticks, getting a picture. Which, folks, I'll tell you, having gone to
just in his own head, it's like his own personal reward at that payoff.
I love there's a bit of a satire about kind of like, when you have these, have like the pseudo celebrity encounters on Hollywood and the Hollywood Walk of Fame, all the costume kind of superheroes and all that, those guys, the guys who are always like charging $5 for a photo. And we're kind of doing that here. We're also kind of mixing it with like conventions and stuff where basically chances are you meet a celebrity on the street, picture, no problem. But if you go into a convention, like a kind of an orchestrated event, it'll be like $20 a picture or more, depending on the worth of the celebrity. Like William Shatner, I believe he charged anywhere between $60 to $100 for an autograph.
I've heard horror stories of Billy Shatner.
So that's what I'm saying, just as an example. And of course, you got to remember though, it used to dishearten me way back in the beginning when I come up to these encounters. You think, oh God, celebrities not going to charge, make more money than God. And of course, as you learn in real life, that's not the case. But here's the big thing: you got to take into account that you didn't the first time is that is their appearance fee essentially. And like they're invited to these places presumably and put up in like their respective hotel, and then their take for the whole event, for the whole weekend, for the whole convention, whatnot, what have you, is them charging for the photos and the autographs and so on and so forth. That's where they're making their money. That's why they charge.
Right.
The number of that charge, though, again, that's where things get a little egotistical. But let's get back to the point here. So, anyway, so let's see. So Cage, he's been successful. He's being really cocky here. He's kind of displaying the money to the camera here, a little money tug. He says, "Well, success is my middle name, Nicolas Success Cage. And I'm this much closer to being debt free. He's $20 close to being debt free versus $100 he was hoping to make. And of course, LA, my city of angels. And with the city of angels, it means like a city of Don Cheadles, I think, for Nick Cage, technically. Little Family Man reference for the kids. Yeah, I know. Not all Nick Cage movies are over the top. There's Family Man. Just saying.
I like Family Man a lot. We talked about Family Man a couple of years ago.
Anyway, so of course,
you know what? I remember seeing Matchstick Men in theaters as a teenager and being like, "Hey, man, this Nicolas Cage guy is a really good actor."
Yeah, and he is a good actor too.
He is.
It's a little loopy at times, but again, loopy for the sake of the art, though. All right, so then we get into a chorus of "It's the Money" playing over the credits, and wow, I love the extra in the background too, who reacts to him like the whole like "My City of Angels," and it's like, oh god, who's this guy? He turns to him and he runs. He doesn't run, but he's kind of it's a little moment. Anyways, then we have the end credits gag with the Nicolas Cage rap. How do you feel about this?
I'm not going to try and repeat it, but I think Joshua Thomas nails it.
That he does. I
actually think it has an actual decent flow to it. That's the most funny thing about it.
It does. I don't have the whole thing. I do have a couple lines that jumped out at me, like better than John Travolta playing me in Face Off.
Oh God.
Why won't America just let me act? And I think the other one is I was a point, but there's like two that kind of jumped out at me. Then we have like this little disclaimer at the end. A parody. This is a really classy thing JGI did here. A parody done out of love and respect to the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Cage. And of course, we reveal this with fun fact. I don't know if you remember this, Tiki. Piper Henson gave Joshua Thomas this Nicolas Cage pillow as a gift for last Christmas.
Yes, I do remember that.
This is one of these little vanishing pills, folks. You rub it one way and you reveal the image that's on the other side. In this case, it's a giant close-up shot of Nicolas Cage's face. So, yeah, a little Piper Henson cameo, tangentially, in a sense. Then we have kind of our tag gag, I like to call them, a little subscriber tag gag, where we have, where basically Nicolas Cage kind of breaking the fourth wall over here. Was my mic showing earlier? Where's the sound guy?
All right, there we go.
Final thoughts.
Okay, Dragon, this is I feel like this is just a great setup for more to come here with this Nick Cage impression. I do think out of all the Joshua Thomas impressions, Nick Cage is really one of the ones that, you know, is kind of legendary. He's done it on the stream a number of times. Oh God, I remember when I made him do Goofy movie songs.
Well, remember, he actually you started an even better one, Tiki. You got him to do the Aladdin, Nicolas Cage doing the Aladdin, like da da da,
right,
which I keep hearing Mark Sipka. Keep imagining like if there could be a duet of basically Nicolas Cage doing the da da da, and you'd have Al Pacino by Mark Sipka doing like da 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 da.
All right, anyways, it's a delightful idea. It's executed really well. I can't wait to see more of it, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, final thoughts for me. A lot of fun. Great pitch for a series. It's an excellent pilot, for sure. Excellent comedy pilot. I love this whole Odd Jobs premise. Nick Cage just as the gift that keeps on giving. I hope to see. I hope we get to see a little bit more of the charm factor, like we did in the beginning of the sketch. You read the whole the basically. I like the idea we have these little hooks for Nick Cage beyond just the comedy of it all. We have these little moments of like he is sincere with what he's doing. He's just trying. It's just a man trying to get debt free, but he happens to be Nicolas Cage. That's kind of what your through line of the show is. And they have the fun side of being a celebrity. The whole of course, just putting the charm factor of the national treasure Nick Cage in there a little bit. So definitely an office homage that works. And definitely it's nice to see another JGI series in the works, man. It's been too long since we've seen him do another series. We've seen shorts, we've seen sketches, we've seen Harley Quinn and Joker, and now, hopefully, fingers crossed, a new series to brighten our days going forward. So, yeah.
All right. So take us out, Dragon.
All right, folks, that does it for now. Until the next exciting reach, next time into the Just Giggle It grab bag. Banner!
Da da da!
Da-da!
Da da da!
Da-da!
All right.
I never had a friend like me.
Stay safe.